minimalistic at their core. The use of the hoops, the blood, and the plastic bottles is just so unique. Um, they pair it with an excellent choreography. They the elements are tied together very cleverly, and they have excellent sound effects and the music, of course. It is quite an engaging piece.
These performers did a great job, and what interesting style we got going here. I don't know much about dance terminology, whatnot, but I mean, I'm seeing like a fusion of styles here. There's, there were some like balletic style jumps, like classical looking jumps to my eyes, but then they're also doing with the two very modern, postmodern kind of music, minimalistic beats and whatnot. um they each individually, the man and the woman, each individually had such a great, way of doing things, such a great way of movement and of thought and performance. And like, what he was doing with those hoops, I'd never seen that kind of thing. It's like a dance, it's like a human sculpture, it's forming puzzles and then deconstructing them, and then their interactions together. And and she had such a striking presence, in her poses and her jumps and her movement as well, in a way I just hadn't seen people dance this way before.
Plain background and how it really allowed the dancing and the props to tell the story and let it shine through. I've loved the element of those empty plastic bottles and blood in the sense of losing nature, and kind of the sadness in that sense of threat, and also like a sense of injury and murder. And I thought that was just so beautifully captured with all of the simple elements together.
Fair Stars and Trees was a very interesting take on what I believe was a very strong message on pollution. The reason I think that is because of the fact that a lot of the props and a lot of the choreography to me felt like it was symbolic on the way we treat the planet. Mainly because, first off, the entire atmosphere was very uncanny, intentionally uncanny, in the sense that it was a perfect white void that something was off about, which was apparent the moment there was blood and there were bottles, in the sense that this once pristine white void was gradually becoming more and more filthy. And the reason I believe it to be about pollution is because, well, for one, that symbolism right there of this clean white color gradually becoming covered in grime throughout this piece, but also the sense of the symbolism of using the rings as kind of a strangulation. It reminded me a lot of those plastic soda can containers, how a lot of those go into the ocean and they suffocate a lot of the marine life. It kind of felt like that, where it was killing one of the dancers, and the only way to essentially revive him was to remove the clutter, remove the litter. And I think that was very interesting to use like a lot of the symbology to convey that message.
How it started with just the two of them, and they kind of introduced the concept of like a plastic water bottle, and in the beginning his ring wasn't even fully closed. It was undone still, and then how he himself, with all of these like hoops and rings, kind of got, his time to shine, and then she came back in, and how they worked together and how they moved together. I thought it was beautiful. I thought there was just enough of, in different points when they were obviously in sync or dancing with the same type of movement, but then also dancing together with a lot of partner work and lifts and stuff like that. I thought it was beautiful. I thought how she worked with him and the rings later on was absolutely stunning.
But something about the sound design, I felt like added like another texture to the film, kind of this like different tone to it. And also when like that whispering comes in towards kind of the beginning and middle of the film, I thought that was really cool. And the choreography, of course, is just great. I was just super impressed and really enjoyed watching.
I loved this fusion between worlds where we have traditional Indigenous hoop dancing as well as the traditional ballet dancing, and seeing these two opposing worlds that come from very different schools of thought, ballet from more of a colonial perspective, and this hardcore kind of raw soundtrack in the background to create that edge and highlight the tension banging up against one another. Really striking imagery. Challenging material, and the use of hoop dance to create this movement, the trappings, but also kind of reflected the medicine wheel for me as well. And the ballet dancer being the one to bring in these plastics. Plastics are something very much from like a Western construct, from an industrial world that's littering the piece and invading his circle and his space. So I thought that was really brilliant. So much to dig through, and I'm going to continue to unpack it as I think about it from now on.